What's up, you guys? Welcome to another episode of Ask Alex, where this is the show where we take your questions and answer them here on this show. I'm your host, Alex Hampton, and man, we had an amazing DC Fandom Comic-Con this past weekend. I can't wait to dive into more of our highlights, but before I get into those highlights, I couldn't do this dive in without my panelists, Jeremy and Ian. So Jeremy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing real good, man. I'm excited to be here. Yeah, it was a epic event. It ended up exceeding my expectations tenfold. So I'm excited to get into some of the topics that we got to learn about yesterday.
Yeah, me too. And Ian, what did you think about the event, and how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, man. I'm crazy tired, but I'm happy I get to relax the rest of the day and talk nerd stuff, especially some of the bombs that were dropped this weekend, man. I can't wait to dive in and discuss all the great news.
Yeah, this is going to be a really dope show today. And like Ian said, and Jeremy, a lot of great bombs. By the way, before we continue on, Jeremy did a live stream of this whole event, and I am super proud of him because he did it for 5 hours straight. I don't know if I could have done that, but it was fun. And me and Ian got to collaborate with him. He also got to collaborate with a lot of other creators as well. So I applaud you, Jeremy, for sticking it out. And we honestly had fun reacting with you and the rest of the fans. That was so much fun. Like, we got to do that more often.
Awesome. I appreciate it. My voice is not thanking me for it today, but I love the fact that you guys were available and down to do it. It's great to have the three of us in the same place at the same time. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It was a blast, and it was long. And if I had more foresight, I would have stuck around for the Batman trailer. But we'll talk about that too, I'm sure.
Oh, most definitely. But if this is your very first time ever watching any of my videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Then hit that bell right next to it. That way you get all the notifications of every time I'm releasing a video here on Momentum Media. And if you want your question or topic on this show, all you have to do is just send me an email at theaskalexshow@gmail.com. That's the askalexshow@gmail.com. I will leave a link in the description below, so that way you guys can click to it and just send me an email with your question. I got a lot of questions about, the DC fandom and just all the great things that came out. I know I'm super excited to dive into these topics. So let's go ahead and jump into the very first topic today. And the very first topic comes from a Brian Kemp. And he writes, "Hey Alex, what was your favorite moment at the DC Fandom Comic-Con?" Well, thank you for your question, Barry. So I said this on the stream on Jeremy. I think and I said it on my YouTube channel yesterday. The biggest thing for me is that we finally, after I want to say about 25 years, got a Static Shock announcement of a movie. Like, there have been so many fan films, including mine. There have been so many TV shows and comic book iterations. We finally got a Static Shock film in development. I hope it's good. Number one, good writers and good actors. DC better not fuck this up. I'm going to be so pissed. But overall, I am so excited for that. But I have to be remiss to say what damn near brought me to tears, and I'm not lying when I say this, is the Batman trailer. The Batman trailer fucked me up. And let me tell you why it fucked me up. When you see that obviously the Riddler is the main villain, I have never seen the Riddler portrayed like that at all. Like, I've never seen it. Even reading in the comic books, the Riddler has never, to me at least, never seemed that maniacal at all. Like, I was just blown away. That very opening scene where you hear the tape, I was like, oh shit, like, is this the Joker? It was like, nah, this is the Riddler. And then you see Robert Pattinson's Batman. I will say, and Jeremy and Ian can attest to this, I said that I hated the suit. I really did. Like, I hated the suit from the images and all that other bullshit. When we finally saw the suit in context, I was like, damn. I was like, oh, okay. It's starting to grow on me just a little bit. Just a little bit. The Batmobile is kind of debatable for me. I'm like, it's okay. But there's that one scene where he's fighting off I call them the Jokers, but I don't know that for a fact. These groups that like have their face painted, and that's why I call them the Jokers. And that guy's like, "Who are you?" And after he beats down one person with one hand, he's like, "I'm vengeance." It's like, oh shit, like this is real. Like this is so amazing, and it literally brought me. I was like, "Yo, this is the Batman I've been reading about in the comics. This is the Quarter Owls Batman. This is the Hush Batman. This is like the very Batman I've been reading about as a kid, and I cannot wait to see what it looks like." I'm still skeptical about it to a degree, but I have to say I really enjoy, out of everything out of the DC Fandom presentation, that was the one that was like, wow, like that really fucked me up. But Jeremy, you saw this this stuff at DC Fandom. What was your favorite moment? And just tell us, what did you think about that whole event as a whole as well?
It was cool. Like, I really do feel like it's exceeded my expectations. I can't speak for everybody else, and I also can't say how much of my enthusiasm and my excitement was just the fact that I was sharing it with a community online. Like that was super cool, but I feel like that was on the micro, and if you look at the macro, everybody was doing the same thing. Like I looked at other YouTube channels, and there were many of us that were all streaming the event, watching the news, tweeting about it as it was going on. And I cannot commend them enough for making it feel like an event. You touched on Static Shock. That's super exciting. I'm like stoked for you that that's a thing that's coming out, because I know how big a fan you are. The Justice League trailer, pretty cool. I actually enjoyed that. And the Suicide Squad.
Oh, that was amazing.
It looks insane. It looks like something I've never seen before. And in a day and age where there are 3 to 5 comic book movies that come out every year, it's nice to see them just do something that's completely outside the box, because I feel like you and I were both probably expecting something a little more close to Guardians of the Galaxy when we found out that James Gunn was directing.
Oh yeah, the Suicide Squad, and I remember saying this on your stream, the Suicide Squad is James Gunn's version of a rated R, I feel, a rated R Guardians of the Galaxy. Sure. Because if you look at the characters that he's putting in this movie, these characters are reminiscent to the Guardians to a degree. Especially, and that's why I said I cannot wait for Sean Gunn's portrayal as Weasel, because he does the mocap for Rocket. Yeah. So I'm like, oh my god, like this is going to be crazy. Another thing that I loved about the whole DC Fandom stuff as well was Wonder Woman. We got to see the final trailer, and then we got to see the Cheetah character in her full cheater garb, and then we saw Chris Pine come back, and there was just so many things that I really enjoyed about DC Fandom. I think DC Fandom was probably the best Comic-Con of 2020 that we've had at home.
Oh yeah, 100%. And the thing that was cool about like waking up I tried to stream for as long as I could. I had to kind of cash out right before the Black Adam reveal. That was super cool. That was dope. I ended up catching that, but it was after I went off the stream. No. So I woke up this morning fresh, and I watched the Batman trailer. And dude, Alex, I echo so much of what you said. I feel like what we're getting is very, very grounded Batman. And on top of that, I feel like Matt Reeves might be addressing some of the things that Christopher Nolan's film didn't. Yeah, I didn't like the Tumbler as a Batmobile. Yeah, I was not a fan of that design. Mm-hmm. I like Batman's new costume a lot. I think it looks great, like you said, in context with the tone and the movie itself. I love the use of the Nirvana song, Something in the Way.
Oh, my God.
Really set this great tone and atmosphere that made you realize, like, this is kind of a film noir. I feel like it's going to be a straight-up detective story. And like you said, dude, at the end, just to show Batman's intensity, they want to show you, because everybody's been saying Robert Pattinson's soft, or Robert Pattinson can't pull off Batman. Maybe he'll be a good Bruce Wayne. So we see Batman just wrecking that dude, body on him, hitting him in the face over and over again with one hand. And then he's like, I'm vengeance. And like, he doesn't beat him into submission. He beats him into submission and then hits him like 5 more times. So you're like, oh, dude, this guy he's broken. He's damaged. And I really like what they're doing. Question, is that Alfred with the bag on his head?
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I hope so. I love that trailer. Ian, you saw the presentation that was going on at DC Fandom. What was your favorite moment? And is there anything stick out to you about that whole event?
Oh man, all of it, except for one thing, which we'll get into at a different subject, but all of it. Honestly, the first thing I saw that morning was the Wonder Woman trailer. I was like, ho, I am ready for that. And then, of course, we saw all the television announcements, all these new movies announcements with Static Shock and the Black Adam and stuff like that. But it didn't, like you said, it didn't even compare to the Batman trailer. When I saw that Batman trailer, I can't wait to all these people that said Robert Pattinson, like Alex, that was all against it to just eat it. Because that was the same way with like Heath Ledger Joker.
Ian, I think we need to do our victory walk around Alex real quick.
Absolutely. You know, I thought it was going to be good. You know, he's shown that he's a great actor. Obviously, he's got ties to Twilight, so people have always doubted him. But I think that scene where he beat up those jokers, as you call it, I think that was him responding to the trolls, honestly. Yeah. Like, what? You think I'm just a vampire? I will beat your motherfucking ass. That's what that was. That's what that was. And I love to see those Joker scenes, by the way. It reminded me a little bit of Batman Beyond, you know, those followers of the Joker. Yeah. And, of course, it kind of has that theme of we just got off the Joker movie, and he had a huge following. So, you know, I'm just going to throw that theory out. It might go nowhere. It might not, you know. But that's interesting that they did that. Yeah. But no, that Batman trailer. Oh, I don't know if the movie's gonna be great, but they got that suit right. It's not my favorite Batmobile, but it is my favorite suit. I've seen people divided on the suit. It's my favorite. I'm going with it. We'll see if he'll be my favorite Batman. I'm rooting for him. It looks great.
Yeah, it does look great. Like they said, you guys can pull up episodes where I said I don't know how this is gonna go. I did not like the suit. I was a fan of the casting and Matt Reeves and all this other stuff, and I was excited for it, but I was not a fan of the suit. But when I saw it in context, I was like, what the hell? And then I found out on Twitter that footage we saw was only 25% of what they shot. So if that's only 25%, I could only imagine what the rest of that film is going to look like. So I cannot wait for that film. Thank you for your question. Let's go. And guys, what did you guys think about the DC fandom? What was your favorite moment? What did you think about the Batman stuff with Robert Pattinson? Do you think that this is going to be a great movie? Do you think it's going to be a terrible movie? Just jump into the comment section below. Let us know your thoughts, and let's go ahead and jump into
Hey, one more thing before we go. The Static Shock movie, I'm campaigning for the black dude from Stranger Things to be Static Shock. I forgot his name, the black kid.
Stranger Things. Oh, wait, which one?
Stranger Things, but I don't know what Caleb.
Caleb something.
Oh, yeah.
He's gonna be he would be a perfect Static Shock. I'm rooting for that.
Awesome. Yeah, hey, whoever, as long as the actor is good, I'm cool with it. DC, do not fuck this up. So let's go to the next question, and the next question comes from a returning person, Miss Iris Peoples. Thank you for sending us amazing questions, Iris. Hey, Alex, is it safe to say that with all these new movies coming out of the DCEU, is it finally true? Is it coming out that the DCEU is finally on a path to success? Well, thank you for your question, Iris. And I'll keep this short for me personally. When people measure success, well, especially when you're talking about the DCEU, they try to compare it to Marvel. And my thing is that I had to learn this really yesterday during the panel. We have to accept the DCEU and just the DC movies as they are. If I continuously compare them to the MCU, obviously it's no contest. So, and also you have to keep in mind, every DCEU movie that has come out aside from Birds of Prey has made money, enough money to make sequels if they choose. It's just a lot of them have been bad in terms of storytelling. We never thought that Aquaman would make $1 billion. I sure as hell didn't think that because I didn't really like that movie that much. but it made $1 billion. Wonder Woman did good at the box office. I loved Wonder Woman. Batman vs Superman did good at the box office, but it should have been $1 billion movie, and it didn't. And I have to say that with all the movies that have come out under the DCEU umbrella / DC movies camp, I will say that they, with the DC fandom, they're definitely on the right path. I am very interested to see Suicide Squad. I'm very interested to see the Batman. I'm very interested to see what's some other ones, the Snyder Cut and all this other stuff. I'm interested to see those movies. I don't know if they're on the right path yet because, like I stated before, which I stand by, Warner Brothers is a bunch of liars. So until I see anything like I didn't believe the Batman was really in production until I saw a trailer. So now that we have a trailer, I believe that it's actually happening. Now it remains to be seen if we're actually going to see a Flash movie. I don't care what Ezra Miller said. We ain't got a trailer. All we got is some concept art and a suit, which was dope. But I was just like, until we see like a trailer, that's when I believe we'll see a Flash movie. I didn't believe the Snyder Cut. Well, I really did believe the Snyder Cut was happening. But to see that type of footage that he released, I was like, oh, okay, this is actually happening. So I think they're on the path where they need to be. I don't know if it's successful. So, I went to Jeremy last time. So, Ian, do you think that the DCEU is on the path of success after everything we saw from DC Fandom?
Well, I think you brought up a good point. Well, what is the definition of success? If it's talking about box office money, Warner Brothers is still making it. Like, I wasn't a big fan of like Suicide Squad or Batman vs Superman, but they definitely killed at the box office, and even Justice League did. So, like, when it comes to financial success, they're always going to be there. When you got properties like Batman, it's a cash cow. When it comes to critical success, I do think they're on the right path. I think that this is more than any time to learn from your mistakes. We saw what the audience is not liking. We saw what they respond to well. They respond well to Wonder Woman. They responded well to Aquaman. They responded well to Shazam and Joker and all that stuff. So if they're taking notes of what formula works and doesn't work, I think it's possible it will be well. But if they keep making the same decisions and keep trying to compete with the competitors as Marvel, as you said, then no, it's not going to work. But I have faith that they're learning, and they got amazing properties to work with. They got new stuff that they haven't even tried, like Static Shock and a Flash movie. So, yeah, I think the newer stuff is actually what I'm looking forward to. As much as I love Batman, we've seen him so many times. I can't wait to see new interpretations of different characters. And when you have others to compare to, yeah, it gets kind of hard, like Batman. But when you have Static Shock that has nothing to compare to, I think they got free range to not mess it up. So that's my thought of that.
Yeah, and I agree with everything that he said. The one thing I can say about both camps with Marvel and DC, they're very original and they're coming up with new things. You don't have to always like those things, and you can be critical of those things. But to measure their success, for me at least, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's like a pissing contest that will never end. Like, I don't think that that's a wise thing to do. But Jeremy, do you think that the DCEU is on a path of success, and where do you see them going forth after everything that we saw from DC Fandom?
So a couple things. I want to go a little bit different this time because I just was thinking about the general reaction to it. And our friend Sean Chandler from Sean Chandler Talks About tweeted yesterday, I wonder why the Splash panel is trying so hard to convince me that Ezra Miller is quirky and funny and harmless. And then he follows that up with great forgiveness, but it's tough when situations aren't addressed and no context is given. Seems to me that Warner Brothers' PR strategy is just move on and ignore it. So I thought that was kind of interesting about the potential Flash movie that's coming up, because that one in particular has been in development for so long that I don't know if it's going to have some of the residual funk on it from the earlier movies, or if it's going to have some of the newer sheen of something like Joker, or what it looks like we're going to get out of Batman.
What if it already happened? He already just messed up the timeline, and we just haven't seen it.
Oh, see, that's an interesting possibility, and very, very, very possible. So, I don't know, man. I feel like they have a good shot at doing things right. The DCEU, as far as the extended universe, I don't know. It's kind of a mess as far as continuity, who's what character, all of those kind of things. So like with the Zack Snyder Justice League, I haven't been a fan of Zack Snyder's previous films, but I'm very curious about this because at least he'll get to finish off his vision of how this whole story arc was supposed to play out instead of having it just completely butchered in the chop shop after Whedon came on board and take away so much of the context. So, like, I do feel like there's a lot of baggage attached to some of the older casting properties, like with The Flash and things like that. But I really do think that they can move it forward. And here a little bit further, about 20 hours ago, Cody Leach, another fellow YouTuber that has a channel that covers a lot of horror movies and stuff like that. Super cool guy. Definitely go check his out. But he said, nothing but love for the MCU, but today cements the fact that the era of DC reign is upon us. So that's a pretty bold statement. And I'm not going to lie. I feel like it's possible that Marvel's best days are behind them. I've said this a couple times. And you know,
I said it too.
Oh, yeah. No, the conversation I had with you was the first time that we kind of talked about. Yeah, 100%. Yep. And it does feel like because it took 10 years to build to this massive thing, you can't get back there. And all we can do is like compare everything to the greatest thing. And it's like, yeah, Spider-Man was good, but it wasn't Endgame, you know? Yeah. And DC they haven't hit their crescendo yet, right? So I don't know, Ian, I went on a podcast and totally stole that whole sentiment and talked about it for like a good 5 minutes. And Julio, yeah, no problem. I might have credited you. I'm not sure, but
we're on the same team. It's good.
We're on the same page. I mean, it's a very valid point. And then Julio kind of started mentioning, you know, things like Guardians of the Galaxy was a risk. We'd never seen those characters before because I was like, I don't even know who Shang-Chi is, you know?
Yeah.
And then Marvel's had almost a perfect batting average. The worst flops that Marvel have made a shitload of money. So it's hard to quantify and say, you know, Marvel's best days are behind them. But I do tend to agree with the sentiment that it's going to be very difficult to hit that high again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think that with Marvel in particular, I think that they're in a I wouldn't say a rebuilding stage, but more of a restructure stage because like their next movie is Black Widow that takes place after Civil War. I mean, I'm interested to see the movie, but I honestly am done with the whole prequel / sequel movies to characters that are dead. Like I'm done with that type. Like I'm done with that. I didn't like how they did that with Ant-Man and the Wasp, where that was the very next movie after Infinity War, but it took place after Civil War. It didn't make any sense to me why they do it like that. But at the same time, you know, I think, like I said, they're in a restructuring stage, and I honestly feel like Marvel's going to show us some things that I'm not going to say they're going to trump DC, but it's definitely going to be very unique in comparison to DC. So that's why I feel about that. But what do you guys think? Do you think that the DC is on a successful path? Do you think that they are about to do some crazy things that are going to shake things up? Just jump into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, and let's go ahead and jump into our final question of today. And this final question, I think, is going to be amazing to hear all three of our perspectives about this question. So this final question comes from a Rayshawn James. And he writes, hey, Alex, what with the new footage from the Snyder Cut, has this footage changed your opinion about that movie, about this movie coming out? Well, thank you for your question, Rayshawn. Now, let me just give some context. I was the one who said, and I made a video about it with these guys who said that this is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. It was the dumbest shit I've ever heard. I've even said, I believe we did another episode of Ask Alex where people were asking, you know, showing the concept art and all this other stuff. I've even said that I don't understand how people who shit on Zack Snyder are still excited for a Snyder Cut. because people don't like Batman vs Superman. Some people, Man of Steel, if you look at the critic ratings, are very divisive. Like, I love it, but there are a lot of people who hate it. Watchmen, I hate Watchmen, but I love the director's cut. The director's cut is dope. The theatrical cut, trash. 300, I'm not really into medieval times anyway, so I didn't really like it that much to begin with. So at the end of the day, as a director, I have been on record on my platform and said that I don't see the value in this because, like I said, I even said before on a episode, I asked Alex, what's next? A David Ayer cut? Or what's next? A Ben Affleck cut? And strangely enough, the very next day, David Ayer did say, I would love to do my own cut of Suicide Squad. But
I would have loved to see that.
yeah, I would have loved to see that too. Now, DC Fandom happened, and I was on Jeremy's live stream for like the last 20 minutes of it. And I had said on the live stream, I said, after watching that trailer, I am excited for the Snyder Cut because we saw footage that wasn't in deleted scenes. We saw footage that he literally worked on and overly shot. We saw footage of Darkseid. We saw Superman in his black suit actually interacting with other characters in that suit. We saw the Justice League doing different things. Now, this is going to be, according to DC Fandom, it's going to be a 4-part episode series on HBO Max. And once the 4-episode series is done, they're going to release the full Snyder Cut 4-hour movie. What that tells me is that there were 2 hours of extra footage that we didn't get from the Whedon cut, if you will, for the theatrical cut of Justice League. And from what I saw, I am not going to lie, I was amazed by it. I even said on Jeremy's stream, this is one of, if not many things that would get me to sign up for HBO Max solely for that. Because right now HBO Max, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not a terrible service or anything like that, but there isn't anything on there right now that I already don't have in my library that I want to watch. So after
Lovecraft Country.
Whatever. Yeah, whatever. I thought that was trash, but whatever. Anyway, I'm excited for the Snyder Cut. There is value for it. Now that I've seen the footage, there's one critique that I will say before I pass it down. You can tell that the audio in that whole trailer still needs to be worked on because they put a song in that whole trailer, and you don't hear the characters speak until the end of the trailer. You see them speak parts through the trailer a little bit, but they're still working on the audio engineering for that trailer. And I find it odd that if Darkseid is in this movie, why are we getting like, I don't know. I find it odd that and it was cool to see that it looks like he's only attacking Superman, but not the whole Justice League. I'm not sure, but I have to say, to wrap up my point, it is interesting to see, and I can't wait to see Zack Snyder's footage. Now, Ian has a very different opinion than I do. So, Ian, what do you think about the footage? And does it sway your opinion about the Snyder Cut as a whole?
This Snyder Cut thing has just been like, wow. In the fandom, I've never seen anything like this in my life. Seriously, like a fandom just putting that pressure on somebody to not only give us what we want, but just like the whole let the creator do his thing. Especially circumstances that happened to Zack Snyder that unfortunately he couldn't finish his vision. So I've rooted for Zack Snyder. I'm with you guys. Zack Snyder, in my opinion, not had the best movies. Visual masterpiece, genius. Visual, probably some of the best visuals I've ever seen in my life come from him. Storytelling, it's always been a flop for me. It's just not been the best. But my highs and lows for this to come out has been everywhere. When these people first started doing the whole campaign, and I was like, guys are wasting your time. This is ridiculous. Yeah. It's not happening. It's never going to happen. And then we're hearing some rumors. I was like, really? Is there really some value to these rumors? Then finally we hear that announcement. I'm like, okay, let's go. let's go. If you guys campaigned this and fought, and this and Comcast is letting this happen, why not? Let's see it. Yeah. Let's see his vision, because it's obviously something 100% different than Josh Whedon. You know, you could definitely tell the tone from Josh Whedon and Zack Snyder. Oh, two different people. But then I saw this punk ass bitch ass trailer yesterday. Oh yeah, I'm going in. I'm gonna be disrespectful. Okay, like I had to put all my respect in the front. Now here comes the disrespect. That did not move me at all. I'm sorry. And I know a lot of people are excited for this and probably have a little bit of confirmation bias just because they are ready to see this and they fought really hard to do it. Props to them. But the trailer was trash. It seemed like a lot of the same stuff. I don't know if it's like programmed in my head to be like, Ian, this is a movie you saw already, and you know what's gonna happen if you watch it. You're gonna be disappointed again. Because you wanted to see this movie since you were a child, and you got shitted on the first time you saw it. This is one of those shame on me moments. I don't know if that's my brain telling me that logically, but what I saw did not move me in a different way. That I was already hyped to see it. It actually put me back down. The music choice was ridiculous. Like you said, it's obviously not finished, but like it was more of a, hey, congratulations, our movie's coming, I guess. But as a trailer, it definitely put me back. My excitement has gone down a lot. I'm sorry.
Do you think I was rooting for him. Do you think there were any redeemable parts of that trailer for you?
Not really. Not really. There was no. It felt like the same movie. I understand there were shots that we did not see in the movie. I understand that. But as me moving to be redeemed, to see something like, oh, I can't wait to see that. No, it didn't. It didn't jump my penis up any more than it already was for Wonder Woman or Batman. Sorry,
he really took it there. Okay,
it did excite me. I'm sorry.
Listen, I don't even know how to respond to that. So, Jeremy, what's your response to Ian's comments, and what do you think about the Snyder Cut trailer?
You're wrong, dude.
I know. The Snyder cult's gonna hate me.
It's funny because I think Ian is pretty right about the confirmation bias. A lot of people that have been willing this thing into existence, which is crazy. There's no way to undersell what a. I mean, we saw it with Sonic, but other than that, we saw it with Sonic and we saw it with the Justice League. But other than that, normally fan outcry doesn't change much. I guess the times are changing, and it seems like it is starting to more and more. But the point is. Zack Snyder had this big 4-hour epic in mind. 3.5 hour. I don't remember that the first cut was long as shit. And then he befell a terrible personal tragedy. I feel like the tides were changing behind the scenes at DC in the first place anyway. So like maybe they, I don't know. He ended up exiting the project. Mm-hmm. He never saw his vision through. He did Man of Steel. Don't really care for it. It's fine. He did Batman versus Superman. Not a big fan, but I've seen it a couple times. It's all right. It's all right. And this would have been the end. This would have been the conclusion of his little Superman trilogy. Things didn't work out that way. And because of so many people's, passion, some of them are, dickheads. Other of them are great people who just really love these characters. Mm-hmm. And they willed this thing into existence, and Zack Snyder is able to come back and have this swan song, and then the Leonard Cohen Hallelujah is playing, and it gets, like, I love that song. Leonard Cohen is great to me. I definitely can understand why you'd say it was a weird pick for the video. Mm-hmm. However, I'm on a, really empathetic place at this point thinking about Zack Snyder and how much this has to mean to him as a filmmaker, and considering all the shit that he went through. It was moving to me. Now, shot by shot, there were definitely some cool things in the trailer. I think that what Zack Snyder excels at ain't the shit you hear. You know what I mean? It's stuff that you see on the screen. So he put his best foot forward. He showed us some very epic shots. These very, I know this is a bit cliche, these very mythological shots. He makes them look like the pantheon of Greek gods. It's very intentional in the iconography. He's hearkening back to the Renaissance period, and it's really cool. He has a very good eye for visual storytelling when it's not just noisy chaos of explosions and all of that shit, which is like the end of Wonder Woman, Justice League, Man of Steel. Oh my God, all these movies, big explosions at the end. I wasn't necessarily a fan of the Justice League. I wasn't one of the people that really, really wanted this to happen. But here I am now, and I've heard somebody else say it, and I agree with the sentiment. All it has to be is a little bit better than Joss Whedon's version, and then it was all worth it. For me, I didn't have to fork over $30 million to get it finished. Like, if it's a slightly better movie, fuck yeah. You know what I mean? That's it.
I mean, yeah, I agree with that. And also, let me point out to Ian's points. I see where Ian is coming from. And also, let me also point out and say, because I did say this on Jeremy's stream, because I believe someone asked Jeremy while we were talking about it, like, if this is going to be a terrible movie, will it basically abolish my expectations? And like I said there, and I'll say it here on my show, it's not going to abolish my expectations, because even though I thought the trailer was dope, I am still very skeptical of a Snyder Cut. Very skeptical, because like I said, from a filmmaking standpoint, I'm not a fan. I'm not that big of a fan. But like, to Ian's standpoint and Jeremy's, he is a great visual director when it comes to putting these images on the screen. Like, I love all the stuff that he produces. I think he would be a great producer, not so much a great director / storyteller. That's just my opinion. Now, I will say this again. If this is a trash episodic series, I will get back on my YouTube channel and say, you know what? I was excited for it, but it was trash. It was fucked up. It's trash. But at the same time, if it's great, I'll say, you know what? I really enjoyed watching the Snyder Cut. Again, it doesn't weigh either way for me. I still do feel like, to a degree, it's a waste of time. But from what I've seen, I really did enjoy it. Those are my comments. Do you guys?
It feels like a toxic relationship. It feels like a toxic relationship. It's a beautiful woman that's, visually amazing to look at. And then when you get in this relationship, she keeps screwing you over. That's all this is. And I am just tired of being screwed over. I'm sorry. I'm moving on with my life, Josh. Not Josh. I'm moving on with my life, Zach. Leave me alone.
Oh, wow.
That's fair. That's fair.
You know what? That's actually a great analogy, because anyone who knows anything about toxic relationships, you have your highs, you have your lows, and then at one point you're just like, fuck it, I'm done. Like, it's just, you're done. But I get it. So to your question, yes, I'm excited. It does change my opinion a lot from what I said before, but I still have my very same principles, just like these guys do. And like I said before, if it's great, I'm gonna acknowledge it. If it's trash, I'm gonna acknowledge that as well. So, but what do you guys think about the whole Snyder Cut footage? Just jump into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Thank you guys so much for watching this jam-packed episode of Ask Alex. Please like, comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel, where you get all the updates every time I'm releasing a video here on my YouTube channel. Ian, where can we find you on social media?
Social media, you can hit me up at I_controversy, and that would be Twitter and Instagram, or you can go to youtube.com/thecontroversy and check out some of my dope content.
Awesome. Really dope content at The Controversy. And Jeremy, where can we find you on social media?
Ain't it great that we can all come together and change our opinions about stuff over time and grow and evolve as people? Like, I think it goes for all of us that you don't have to be static and have an opinion and then stick to it ardently despite any new information that presents itself. I think that's important for people to consider when they are watching content creators and everything else, because we're allowed to change our minds about stuff. And I think that says a lot about just your character in general, to be able to be like, hey, I used to think this, and now I saw some new stuff, and it changed my mind. People should be more like that. Anyways, movies are terrible on YouTube. Thanks for this was my TED Talk.
Anytime. And you know what? To Jeremy's point, we have to be evolving and change our minds. Like I said, there's a lot of shit that I've talked about, in particular the Snyder Cut, that you can go back and find. And you can, even now in this video where I'm saying listen, I'm excited for it, you are allowed to change your mind. I feel that's the only way you can evolve. But that's my TED Talk. And thank you guys again for watching this episode of Ask Alex. Please like, comment, subscribe. And as always, you guys, You have a blessed day.